Welcome back to Anderson Acres. Today we're diving into one of my absolute favorite topics when it comes to miniature horses, choosing the right cart. Now, if you've ever dreamed of driving your Mini or you're already in the process of getting set up, this is one of those steps that can make or break your entire experience. A good cart makes driving safe, comfortable, and fun. But a bad one? Well, let's just say it can make your Mini miserable and make you never want to do it again. Okay? When shopping for a cart for your Mini, the first thing you want to check is that everything is in good repair. No cracks in the frame, no loose bolts, no wobbly wheels. You'd be surprised how many used carts look great until you notice a bent shaft or a rotted floorboard. But even more important than condition is balance. The balance of the cart is absolutely key to your horse's comfort and safety. In a two-wheeled cart, when the driver is sitting in the seat, there should be very minimal weight on the horse's back. Okay? That's not a suggestion. That's the rule. You don't ever want your horse carrying the weight of your cart. Pulling the weight of your cart, not carrying it. Okay? The cart should balance so that when you're sitting down, the shafts sort of just float there with almost no pressure on the harness saddle. Minis do not take weight. They pull it. It's what they're born and bred for. Okay? You can't be putting weight on the Mini, even if that weight is in the form of a cart. Okay? The cart should not lean on the Mini. Now, there's an easy way to check. Have someone sit in the seat as though they were driving, and you stand at the front of the cart and hold the shafts as if you were the horse. Just put your hands under the shafts. Pretend you're holding them. If you find yourself holding up the shafts with quite a bit of weight in your hands, the cart is not balanced correctly. A properly balanced cart should feel almost weightless when someone's in the seat. You should be able to lift and move it without strain because the weight's on the back. The weight is where the person is sitting, not where you're testing. Okay? Now, here's where a lot of people go wrong. Hitching the horse incorrectly can also throw off that balance. Even if the cart is perfect, if you hitch the harness wrong or the shafts aren't sitting in the right spot, you can end up with extra weight on your horse's back unintentionally. Once you've found that perfect balance point, make sure the shafts are always set to that spot when you hitch up. You don't want the weight on your horse, ever. Okay? The weight should be on the cart's axle, not on the pony, ever. Okay? The goal is to make everything as easy and comfortable for your horse as possible because he's the one doing all the pulling. He needs to be comfy. Okay? And he can't be bearing weight. Miniature horses are really strong for their size. With proper conditioning and a well-balanced cart, a Mini can comfortably pull a load that's up to twice their weight. So he's around 220, 225. He could easily pull 400 pounds worth of weight. Okay? Easily. But, and it's a big but, they shouldn't be expected to do that at peak ability without proper preparation. Okay? Just like any athlete, your horse needs to be careful and he needs conditioning. He needs practice. You're not going to get up in the morning never having even run a mile and suddenly go run a marathon. Okay? If you've never run before, you don't start with a marathon. Same with this. Your Mini needs practice. Okay? He needs conditioning, strength building before you start to do the heavy work. So the first time he actually pulls weight should not be you sitting in a cart going, hey, let's go. No. Despite their heritage as pit ponies and their reputation for being tough, miniature horses are still horses. Without the right preparation, they can be injured just like any other equine. Pulling too much weight, working too long, or driving in a poorly balanced cart can all lead to soreness, strain, and even long-term damage. Take your time. Train slowly, make sure your Mini is fit and ready before you ask for more, and make sure his equipment fits and the cart is the right size for him and for you, and that it is balanced correctly. And if you ever think you might not have the knowledge to safely and comfortably hitch your horse up to the cart, don't guess. Find a qualified mentor or instructor who can help you. Having someone experienced to double check what you've done to double check that your setup is proper is worth its weight in gold. Now let's talk about the type of carts that are out there and how to pick the right one for your situation, because all of those warnings are boring. They're necessary, but they're also boring. Most people who drive miniature horses use a two-wheeled cart because two-wheeled carts are lightweight and they're simple and they're pretty affordable, comparatively speaking. They're also easier for horses to pull and easier for you to store and maintain. But because all the weight is balanced just between those two wheels, that balance is critical. Any tiny adjustment can make a huge difference and can throw off the cart. There are also easy entry carts, which are designed with lower steps or an opening so you can climb in more easily. They're great for convenience, especially if you drive often or have back or knee problems. But just because a cart is easy to get into doesn't mean it's automatically balanced correctly. You still have to test it. Just because it looks like it'll be perfect for you doesn't mean it's going to be perfect for him. Okay? So, check. Then there are four-wheeled carts, which are more appropriately called wagons. These distribute weight differently, so the horse is not holding the shafts the same way. The idea is all the weight is straight down on the wheels. Okay? But they're also heavier. They're harder to maneuver, so you can't do as sharp a corner because you got four wheels. So they are heavier and harder to maneuver, definitely. And sometimes they can be overkill for a single miniature horse. You have to remember you plus the cart. How much do you all weigh? So in his case, he can pull probably 400, 450 pounds, somewhere in there. He's a pretty strong guy. And if the cart already weighs 400 pounds, well, then he's not pulling me in that cart. So if the cart only weighs 200 pounds, then we're fine, right? Then we're fine. But you have to actually do the math, okay? And I'm going to be honest, most beginners and honestly most hobby drivers are best with a two-wheel cart. I prefer a wagon, but we actually have him do stuff around the farm. Like we have him pull wagons so that we can load wood into that wagon and he can help us move wood. Two-wheel carts don't work as well for that. But again, you have to be very cognizant of the weight because wagons weigh more. Now, when you're testing balance, always start by checking the cart itself without a horse. Like we talked about before, lift the shafts, see how they feel, adjust the seat or the shaft position until you find the sweet spot where the cart feels like it's floating. Once you have that, add yourself or a helper to the seat to mimic driving weight. If you suddenly feel the shafts drop or lift dramatically, you'll need to move the seat forward or backward until it levels out again. Okay? You don't have to play with it until everything just feels right. Small adjustments make a big difference, so don't rush it. Little adjustments, don't overcompensate. When you finally hit your mini, pay attention to where the shafts are sitting. They should be level or angled slightly upward. Okay? They towards the horse, angle upward towards the horse. If they're pointing, if they're pointing downward towards the horse, you've got a problem. That means they're pressing weight onto the horse's back. We don't press weight onto a mini horse's back, do we? If they point up too sharply, the cart could lift at the wrong moments. So ideally you want them fairly level, maybe a slight uptick, not a downtick and not a big uptick. Okay? Fairly level, maybe a little uptick. You want somewhere in that zone. And again, you don't want the cart lifting, so you don't want too much of an uptick. Okay? Because that wouldn't be good either. Now, the harness setup matters too. Okay? Harness setup absolutely 100% matters. Hi, guys. The dogs are here. But make sure that the tugs or shaft loops hold the shaft securely without pinching. The breeching, which helps the horse control the cart when slowing down or going downhill, needs to be properly adjusted. Okay? Because if it's not, if it's too tight, too loose, all of those things are going to just cause endless problems. You're not going to think it's fun if things are too tight or too loose. They got to be pretty much perfect. And I know that sounds nitpicky. It's like you got to be just right. It's like Goldilocks. But for the good of you and your horse, you do want to kind of be Goldilocks. Also check your traces, the straps that connect the harness to the cart. Okay? They should run straight back from the horse's shoulders, not angled up or down too much. The right alignment keeps everything smooth and balanced. You want to make sure everything's good, okay? When you're first learning, practice on flat, even ground. Like we have a lot of hilly areas. This is not ideal for learning, okay? You would want to go out to the front of the property where it's fairly flat near the road and practice there where it's nice and flat. Don't practice on a hill, okay? Soft footing like grass or a level dirt path will work best. And you want to start with short drives, just walking, and pay attention to how your horse moves, okay? If they're tossing their head or pinning their ears or stepping unevenly or just generally acting like they're not comfortable, something's off, okay? It might be the balance, it could be the fit, whatever it is, something's off. So you're going to want to stop, adjust, and try again. It's always better to take your time now rather than fix an injury later. Now let's talk about size for a minute. The cart needs to fit your horse. I know there's a bunch of different sizes. That's because there's a bunch of different sized horses. If the shafts are too wide, they'll press down on the saddle or rub on the horse's side. If they're too narrow, the horse can feel trapped or bump the shafts with each step. The length of the shaft should also match your horse's body. Long enough to give them space to move, but not so long that the cart feels like it's really far behind them. Okay? Many good carts have adjustable shafts so you can fine tune that fit and get it just right. Okay? Just right is where you want to be. Another feature to look for in your cart is seat adjustability. Some carts let you slide the seat forward or backward, and that helps you fine tune the balance. That's especially helpful if different people will be driving the same cart, since your weight distribution will affect the balance. Larger wheels also help your Mini pull more efficiently and give you a smoother ride, especially over uneven ground. If you're buying new, ask the seller about adjustability, things like sliding seats and telescoping shafts and balance points. If you're buying used, you need a tape measure. You want to check the dimensions yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for help from other drivers and from online miniature horse groups before you buy your cart. There's a wealth of experience out there, and most people are happy to help newcomers. So get yourself in a Facebook group about miniature horses and ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Now, when it comes to safety, there are a few hard rules. Never hitch a horse to a cart that you haven't thoroughly tested first. Never leave a horse hitched up unattended, not even for a minute. Always check your bolts, your straps, and your harnesses before every drive. Always wear a helmet. Yes, even when you're driving a Mini. Accidents can happen faster than you think. Okay? You don't want to go flying off and crack your head. Now, driving a miniature horse is an incredible experience. It builds trust and communication and partnership between you and your horse. But it also requires patience and attention to detail and a great deal of respect for the animal. A well-balanced cart, a properly fitted harness, and a strong foundation of training will set you up for success. When you finally get everything balanced and hitched correctly, you'll notice the difference right away. Your Mini will move more freely and the cart will feel light in your hands, and both of you will enjoy the drive. It's such a rewarding feeling to know that you set things up in a way that's safe and comfortable for you and your little horse. So whether you're picking out your very first cart or adjusting an old favorite, take your time. Test and tweak and listen to your horse. They'll always tell you something if something's not right. They'll always let you know. Now that's about it for us here today at Anderson Acres. Drop a comment below and tell me what kind of cart you use for your Mini, or if you're still looking. And I'd like to hear what you're looking for. I love hearing about everyone's setup and experiences. We'll see you tomorrow.